Pavlich with townhall.com, and I'm here with Andy Sullivan, who has been leading the charge against the Mosque at Ground Zero, which has been a very interesting process, but somewhat successful, correct?
Yeah, so far so good. I knocked out 2 imams, working on a 3rd now.
Great. So tell us the progress. I was at the 9/11 protest at the Mosque at Ground Zero, which is, the mainstream media would have you believe it's blocks away, but really you can see Ground Zero and the Mosque site at the same time if you stand on the right corner.
Well, not only that, I mean, if you ask me, it is Ground Zero. I mean, part of the landing gear from Muhammad Atta's plane actually came crashing through the building, almost destroying it from the interior. And when you talk about remains, that one building is located in what they call a hot zone. And in the hot zone is where the highest amounts of DNA were found. So if it gets hit with the plane and the most DNA from, people who died are there, it's Ground Zero.
Ground Zero to you. Great. So tell us, last we heard the imam was having some problems with finding the funding and had the nerve to ask taxpayers to kind of pony up the bill for this mosque, even though overwhelming majority of New Yorkers and Americans believe that it should not be put there.
That's correct. I mean, this whole time they've been talking about, religious freedom. Yet here they are now applying for federal dollars,
right?
Which they're not supposed to do, and they're not getting any money. They're not raising any funds.
Right.
So now they appeal to the government, and I'm keeping an eye on this, but they are actually putting money aside for community projects.
Right.
And Park 51 is trying to be that project.
Right.
As far as even the dollar amounts they're requesting is the dollar amounts the Lower Manhattan Development Corporation has put aside.
Right.
So now we really have to watch, because Bloomberg has been so instrumental in fast-tracking this project. So I'm keeping an eye on this whole thing to make sure.
Speaking of Bloomberg, I mean, we've kind of seen that there's a background with him in terms of he has some special interests in the specific project.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Katie, he sent his own commissioners to actually write letters on behalf of Park 51 for the community board and for the Landmarks Commission.
Right.
I mean, to intercede in those things, I mean, that's an ethics violation, I consider.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. So give us a little background on this imam. I know that he's very radical. He refuses to denounce Hamas as a terrorist organization. He has called Ground Zero non-hollow ground.
Right.
Give us a little more background on who he really is, because we're not really seeing who he is in the media.
Well, he's related. I mean, even his father was with the Muslim Brotherhood. So that's got to tell you something. And also on 60 Minutes, he pretty much blamed us for 9/11.
Right.
And we're actually going to miss Rauf, because every time he opened his mouth, he put his sandal in his foot.
Right.
So they appointed this other fellow, this Adhami, Imam Adhami. And Imam Adhami is just as radical, but he was born in America, so they thought it was a better fit.
Right.
Turns out he came out and insulted the gay community so bad that they completely pulled support, and he just resigned. So now we got 2 imams down, and I hear they're looking for a 3rd.
Right. So let's talk about the land developer a little bit, the guy who actually sold the building. This whole deal with, Donald Trump came in and offered to buy the land for, was it 2 times as much as it was worth?
Yeah, he was.
And originally the land developer had said, this is just a business deal. If someone wants to come give me a bid, I'll sell it to them. So Donald Trump came in and said, I'll buy it for twice as much as it's worth. And it may have been more than that, actually. And then he changed his mind, which shows me that maybe it wasn't just a business deal, and this is really about religion.
It absolutely is. Sharif Al-Gamal actually said, like you said, it was a business deal. It's all about making money.
Right. That was his
And Donald Trump put him, hey, put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
Here's a big lump of cash.
Right.
It's much more than what you paid for it. What do you say now?
Right.
You turn it down again. But it also goes to show, when they first introduced the Ground Zero Mosque in the New York Times, there was one line that was expunged from the article. And it was a quote by Imam Rauf, where he said, New York City is the capital of the world, and to locate a mosque so close to 9/11 would be iconic. And the writer knew right off the bat that would be so inflammatory that the project would be killed that day. But we found that quote and we got it. So it just shows you exactly what this is, an iconic thing for them, nothing more.
So the minority in this fight would say, what's your problem with the mosque? You're being intolerant. Why do you have a problem with this being at ground zero? And what would you say to them? Like, what's your
Katie,
argument?
they're praying today. I'm not stopping them from praying. I'm not telling them to move their prayer space. I'm saying do not destroy that building that has historical significance. That was the first strike of the 9/11 attacks.
Right.
Please do not tell me you can destroy that piece of America and erect this 16-story mosque looking down at the Trade Center, where the 9/11 memorial is actually located 7 stories underground,
Right.
which I think that is an outrage as well.
Right. Yeah, because people can't really see it when you walk
Yeah,
in.
it's like they want to hide it, and they want
Right.
this giant mosque to loom over it. So the whole message is very disturbing.
So where do we go from here? How do we combat this idea of people calling you intolerant, even though you're just really trying to memorialize what happened there, rather than
The day the truth becomes intolerant is the day I give up.
All right, that sounds like a good way to end. So thank you very much, Andy Sullivan. Check him out.
Thank you, Katie.
Appreciate the interview. Thank you very
appreciate
much.
you having me.
Yep.